so the last month or so, I've discussed in the 60 seconds, I've talked about growing vegetables, I've talked about retaining walls, I've talked about transformations. So I have a couple projects here that I'm going to walk through that represent each of these. You go to the next one. So this is a house in the Rainier Valley, overlooking MLK. Yeah, almost before you get to Renton. So this is a good example of retaining wall. This slope is very severe. You see that it goes a little bit flat and then just drops off. So the homeowner was really wanting something that they could use their grass. They wouldn't be nervous about working on this slope that's about 20 feet to the next level down. And they also just want a functional space and more garden beds. Vegetables, flowers, huge dahlia fan. So that's what we did for them. So the next one, please. So this is during. So just excavate, we went about 5 feet back and just cut into that slope really severely. Here you can just see the start of the retaining wall, drainage behind it, and all the rock that went into it. I think that's about half of what we actually installed. Next one, please. So, sorry, I pictured a little bit small, but you can see from this picture on the bottom right that slope is pretty much gone. Now it's walkable, it's functional, it actually adds square footage to their functional space. So they have about 75, 80 more square feet of garden beds. They're not worried about falling off the side of it. They can mow without killing themselves, whatever. I mean, that's drastic. But, and then there's just pictures of the front of the wall, the natural stone step. So this is a great way that retaining walls can add space to your property and really add more functionality to your yard. Next one, please. And so this one was a while back. And this was environmentally sound. I call it that because vegetables and reusing rainwater were the primary focus here. So this is this space in the yard has sun almost all day long. Go to the next one, please. And this is a buddy of mine helping with it. So this is a water cistern. He's about 6'4", so you see how big that water cistern is. And this is for catching rainwater off the roof, so you can recycle that and use it for the vegetables. And this is recycled concrete that was collected around Seattle. So reuse materials, keep down the carbon footprint, and this was a really fun project. So this excavation for the cistern is underground cistern, so it goes in the ground. That doesn't take up space, it's not ugly, it works out really well. And this project actually hit a ridiculous hard pan, so the cistern is about 18 inches above ground, so that kind of backfired on us. But besides that, it worked out really well. The beginning of the wall on the left-hand side there. Next one, please. And then after, this is what we have. So we have open space in the middle for sitting and whatever you want to do in there, and then the actual bed, you can see is enclosed by 2 walls. And then on the bottom right, you can see the cistern in the ground a little bit, and the bed behind it. So again, this a flat roof of about 700 square feet catches a ridiculous amount of water. Way more than that cistern could ever possibly hold. But it does hold about 1,100 gallons of water, and that is used to water the vegetables throughout the year. So overall, you're using very little materials, very little input to have this kind of project in your backyard. Couple more pictures. All right, last one. So this is a project in Queen Anne. So this is an example of transformation. So right now, you can't even see the house. It's a very cool house. Everything's overgrown. It was just a little bit out of control, a little overwhelming. You can't see in the bottom picture on the bottom right, there's a patio in the front. And the customers wanted privacy for their patio. They wanted an updated and somewhat contemporary yard to fit the house. The house is built about 12 years ago and has a little more modern and contemporary feel to it. Can you go to the next one, please? So this is during. Plants are gone. It's really hard to see, but there are rows of bamboo to create that privacy in the interior, which is what these black is a root barrier for bamboo, so it doesn't take off and get in your neighbor's yard and then they get mad and it's bad. It's a whole big thing. So then we relayed the patio on the bottom right as well, because that was settling and a little funky. Irrigation, lighting, moving plants. Like this project had a whole lot going on. Next one, please. So this is the finished. It's not. Sorry, that's not a great picture. But lighting is installed, very angular, very linear ground plane pattern for the plants that went in. So that ties into the house. Now you can actually see the house. It's hard to see in that picture, but this vertical piece right here is a peachy orange color that kind of matches the garage door as well. So there's a lot of bright color in this yard. So we did that with a certain type of bamboo that's new growth, and its canes actually have a reddish tint to them. So we tie that in. Then there's grasses that have a little blue-green in to tie into the house. Water feature in the front, relay patio. Go to the next one, please. So this is a picture of looking out. So we used a river rock around the water feature. It's a ponds water feature, so it doesn't hold water. And then we pulled pavers and set more of the river rock in those spaces in mortar. So that ties the two together, so you don't just have hardscape and then water feature, you have the two that kind of work together. So then black monograss for contrast, it also matches, if you remember, the house has a black metal roof. So we put in black monograss, which is, sorry, here in this section here. So really good contrast, it ties the house to the landscape, like I usually try and talk about. And it's a really nice space. Once that bamboo fills in, they'll have their privacy, they'll have their own little area they can sit in and not have people walking by and be in their space. I think that's the last one, isn't it? So those are the examples of transformation, vegetables, retaining wall. This is really how, even the customers were really surprised at how that came out. They really had no idea that's what it was going to look like. Very happy, very pleased with it. And yeah, those are my slides. Are there any questions? I'm kidding, yes, but.
Well, the water in the cistern, how do you keep it from getting moldy, gluey, how's it circulating? Is that a pump in there? Or?
It is pumped out when you're going to irrigate. There's a pump in the base, so that's on a timer, so that just runs out to the garden. But if in the ground, there's no light coming in to give any bacteria anything energy. So it really doesn't you'll get sediment, you get dirt from the flat roof, it doesn't get filtered out. But besides that, it stays pretty good. And there's nothing that will harm the plants per se.
It's great water.
Yeah. Plants, yes. House, anything else.